This is High Vibe TV, the uncensored, guided, and community-based video TV network with content recorded and live streamed from the world-famous High Vibe TV studios. High Vibe TV delivers daily, weekly, and special programs focused on astrology, spirituality, history, community, and more. This is not your run-of-the-mill astrology and tarot. This is the future of spirituality, illuminating new ways the collective can step into the dawning of this exciting new dimension. The highest vibe is truth, and the truth always prevails. Download our awesome app on the Apple and Android stores so you don't miss our notifications, with special spiritual insights curated to the energy of the universe. Search for us on your TV with our exciting TV apps on Apple TV and Roku. Catch our vibe on your computer, where you can join in on the live chat with our amazing community and blog. Watch spirituality like you've never seen before. Download our apps or go to highvibe.tv. Subscribe now.
I mean, honestly, I think, The Great Unknown's the title of this episode today, and I feel like, especially now that finally all the planets are direct, we're here with the Aquarius new moon, a lunar new year, right, in the Chinese calendar. We are at the end of Saturn in Pisces, the end of Pluto Capricorn temporarily, but, definitely the end of the cycle and the beginning of a new cycle, but still not there yet, and a lot of planets in shadow, but it's like kind of quick things are going to turn on here. I feel, though, that the comet is the great, especially after today when we came together earlier today, and then the news about the comet tail doing an anti-tail, like inversing towards the sun, and all this.
Two tails. But not even just breaking, like one going completely
crazy
in the opposite direction. Like, okay, we've all heard of a comet's tail splitting. We've heard of whatever. It can split into two. It can split into multiple, but it's kind of always following the comet. To have like a tail like off the other end, like, of course.
I was reading.
Of course, we got that right now.
And I forgot to also mention that it's not only just the comet.
And green.
It's not even just the comet that was weird today. They just discovered that the Earth's inner core just stopped and turned directions. That's never been recorded before.
Makes sense. I mean, if we're going through like a pole shift and all the planets are kind of flipping their poles and we're going through all these, like, I guess I could see that. Again, weird, high, strange times.
Extremely high and strange times, I would say. And I'm trying to actually get to the story first. I did want to start actually with that Earth core aspect, because I feel like that's like, we've been looking up at the comet, we've been looking up at the planet, and then the whole time underneath us, center of the Earth's core is no longer the same. So I'm like, that's a weird one.
It's synchronistic too. I mean, I feel like our cores are changing.
Yeah, that's true. Everything is turning into a completely new direction, chapter, book, story, with the planetary aspects that have just begun. That's what's weird, is we've begun, but it doesn't maybe feel like it, but you have to really get deep and really do a deep reflective of like, it's begun. It's just not how we think of beginnings as being like, yep, up,
Yeah, I would say it has already, like, it's a process. Like, I feel like this Pluto in Capricorn was the process, like the whole thing. Yeah, think about all the big things that have happened. I mean, 2012, all these crazy things. I mean, they all kind of were leading up to these kind of moments and these beginnings and getting us ready. That structure within us, our bones, our DNA, all these different, levels, because our core is changing directions in the Earth and probably, within us. But there's just been so much of that growth that so many have gone through. And I think it is like for now, right? It's crazy.
It is. I mean, I think, we lost NDI there, I guess. Or maybe that, no, yeah. Oh, no, we're back. Ooh. The universe saved us. So it is pretty wild here looking at this, because it's like, okay, one, this is a top story. It's not like some sideshow Bob news, right? Like top stories, New York Times, The Hill, Vice, right? So literally all today, I guess we'll go to the newest one from 9 hours ago on The Hill, which is so funny. The Hill, which has to do with, politics. Earth's inner core may have paused its rotation reversed. May have. So they're saying may. Vice is saying Earth's core has stopped and may be reversing. New York Times is saying Earth's inner core, a shifting, spinning mystery, latest twist. Researchers proposed a model with a 70-year rotation cycle of our planet's iron heart and report that we're in the middle of one of these big shifts. I think that's like the kind of the, like, it is a big shift we're going through. Or, what Techie came up with, holy shift.
Holy shift. It's a holy shift.
The holy shift.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the kind of, with the Earth that's been speeding up since 2020, they're saying that this actually might be part of it. It also made them actually starting to talk about what's happening on the sun, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, this might sound like a setup for a world-wrecking blockbuster movie, but fret not yet. Precisely nothing apocalyptic will result. I mean, how do they know when they still don't even understand everything? I think that's kind of weird, but I think it's just like another sign with the comet. At the same time, I'm like, wait, what? Up and down? I also thought it was interesting reading the comments. So this was on Instagram, and the first thing I saw was this inside history right there going, this really isn't the best time for this. Can we reschedule for next Thursday?
That's funny.
I thought that was hilarious. I mean, I was like,
Can we just push this off a little bit? Like, come on, there's already all this other crazy shit going on.
And I think that, do I still got to pay taxes?
The comments are always the best.
Right? Like, so I'm like, okay, that's pretty fucking crazy, but the comet, right? So just 2 days ago, it already started showing, of course, they're saying it's an optical illusion, the way that the light's reflecting. But it has become a top story in Apple News. When I was in Apple News, here we go. And if I type in the comment, here we go. There it is, Newsweek. So the unusually green-hued comet ZTF, also known as ZTF C2022, developed a strange and rare tail yesterday, pointing toward our sun rather than trailing out behind it. Right? So, like as if it's going back towards the sun, but it's not. This is known as an anti-tail and appears to point in the opposite direction to the usual comet tail, seemingly breaking the laws of physics. Which I think is another interesting kind of like thing here with all the planets direct, Uranus direct. Earth's core shifting, the comet is not playing by physics.
I mean, what is real? What is known these days? I think that it's interesting that it does say this is known as an anti-tail. So I guess apparently they've come to this conclusion at some point.
Yeah, before. And it's safe and effective too.
Oh. Safe and effective for a comet.
Well, that's what that
an anti-tail.
I mean, at this point, it's never been. It's not like anti-tails are put on any of the comet research you do, and it's like, an anti-tail. And they try to say a comet is like a dirty snowball. This is what Keith Horn, a professor of astronomy at the University of St. Andrews in Scotland, told Newsweek. Comets and planets both orbit the sun, but unlike the circular orbits of planets, comets follow highly elliptical orbits. We know this. Comets spend most of their time on the outskirts of the solar system. As they approach the sun, the solar radiation heats, which that was what we were talking about the last time we talked about it, is like, okay, we're going to see if it's going to show up or not, because sometimes there's not enough heat from the sun, and then the comet just, doesn't do anything and just kind of fizzles out. The fact that it's doing this, now this guy put up, this is some beautiful shit, to be honest with you. This is, of course, using a photography and just taking, time lapse. But that's the comet up there. These are satellites that are passing by. And I just think it's really interesting that this thing is just not wanting to be normal. And these are the times. And it is the great unknown. With us being at the edge of just Pluto itself about to come to 29 degrees. And I think that there's so much connected with this week astrologically, not only with the comet's approach, but also at the same time that Pluto is getting ready to come to 29, not this week, but it's like this, we could start to really feel like, oh shit. But it is interesting because Venus is about to oppose the exact position where Venus is going to retrograde. And ironically enough, that Venus retrograde chart is Sun opposed Pluto at 29 Capricorn retrograde as it comes back. So obviously there's something about this Venus stuff that's coming this year.
And it's that big Venus retrograde too, you know. Never seen it
a
retrograde in Leo before.
In our lives, yeah, it's like, you know, had to have gone back quite a while though.
Right. I mean, there's just so many transits that have either been once in a lifetime or things we're never going to see again. Like a new moon in Aquarius conjunct Pluto in Capricorn. Yeah, never going to see that one
Never
again.
going to see that one again.
Just had that one.
No, and I think that's, you know, I'll share it because I don't even think you got to see it yet. But Michael Luton had posted a very interesting way to put this whole thing. And I always love sharing him because his way of putting the dark moon on Pluto, he put the dark of the moon with Pluto, the formal end of a whole part of life and the beginning of a new cycle of your earthly experience, new adventures, newer questions. Oh, he added this. If it's not all random chaos, may we be guided by wisdom and love. And then he put a puppet.
You know, even if it is all random chaos, we should still be guided by wisdom and love.
Right.
But I feel like that's kind of the setup with all this weird kind of high strange things that are going on in the universe, on Earth. Like, we just need to kind of get used.
That's what we all feel and look like right there. I feel like that's how we look.
And it's okay.
That's what our soul looks like. It feels like right now. Like, okay.
What next, God?
I was talking to my mom, though, about this time and Pluto. We'll get into the charts in a sec. We'll come back to camera here. But I feel like I was talking to her today about Pluto as it's leaving Capricorn. And we were talking for a couple hours. And it was just like, I was like, do you remember 2007 and 2008 and how it was such a major shift? You could feel it. You could feel it. Something was changing in the air. Whoever thought it would be this though? Like it and I remember I told her I was at a rave New Year's Eve, 2008, January 1st, 2008. And I remember like all my friends didn't know, they thought I was crazy talking about astrology already, right? They were just like, whatever, dude. I'm like, dude, this is crazy. This is the first time Pluto's been in Capricorn. And I remember going, this is different. The rave felt different. The people and the way that you just like go to an event felt different. And it was just those little subtle things that Pluto, I think, on a wide range of just the whole reality, you can feel shifting. Now that was Pluto in Capricorn. The fact that we're not in Pluto in Aquarius yet, you know, but it was really fast stuff. Like Obama came up really quick at the beginning right there. The economic crisis hit peak. And I remember being at that rave and I was working at my dad's car, you know, fucking lot. And it was, you know, finally New Year's and I could finally break away and I was rolling balls, you know, like, oh, fuck yeah, I can get away and roll some balls. And fucking, I just was just like, if it's going to be like this, I don't know if I want to go through this transit. And here I am now at the very end of it going, well, that was interesting. That was a fucking lot. My mom said, well, I'm kind of glad it's over. I'm ready for things to change. And that's the energy of Pluto. We're ready for things to change, even when it might come in different. Or is it a question that maybe I have for you? Do you think it's more the end of the cycle of Pluto and we're ready for change? It's maybe both. I don't know. I'd like to get your opinion on that.
Yeah, maybe both. I think Pluto's such a kind of a subconscious, deep urge. So I feel like we're all on a spiritual level, or just as humans, we can all feel that we're on the cusp of some deeper changes. I mean, it's just such a big deal when Pluto change. I mean, it changes whole generations, you know? So you get like a whole generational shift. It's gone through so much in Capricorn where it's really, I mean, at this point, you can really say that, wow, Pluto in Capricorn has exposed so much about our governments, our societies, structure of reality. Like everybody's kind of restructured their own opinion on reality. So, I mean, true. I don't really, gosh, I don't know. I definitely feel like we can all feel it. I know I can. It's hard to put into words though. The exact feeling, but I guess we're all about to see what that shift is into Aquarius, because it's such a different vibration from Capricorn, although it is still a Saturn ruled energy. Right. It's such a different vibration. So I just think that, I guess vibration is the key word there. Is, wow, so much has been uncovered. So much we've seen so deep into what's going on in our world and in our societies and wherever we live. I feel like no matter what country or wherever you live, we've all seen like some what the fuck moments. I can't believe this is going on. You know, so now it's about what we do with what we've learned with that transit and how we start to liberate ourselves in some way and break away from that wave, right?
Yeah, I feel like that's what like it is. It's like a breakaway moment. Any cycle that ends, it's like we break away, and the ingress, because that's the technical term. But there's an unknown, and that's what the best part about whether it's transiting in your own natal chart to a new house or a new sign in that house, or it's, you know, that's always a new feeling, especially with Pluto into a new house is insanely different. But you take what you learned off that past transit and go, all right, I'm equipped for this because I have that layer below me. Like Pluto's the layers of dirt or the cores of the earth. Like there's all the inner core, the outer core, and all these layers above. It's like, well, if the inner core is changing, well, the top layer's already been going forward and backwards in so many crazy different ways. Maybe it's adjusting because it's already feeling like, I can't spin in this direction anymore. Because now they're saying that the Earth's core is rotating the opposite direction that the planet is spinning.
And I feel like that's exactly what we have to do.
It's like a course correction.
Yeah, we have to start spinning ourselves in the opposite direction that we have been. And not to say that like everything's going in the wrong direction, but there's definitely a humanitarian sort of course correction and like changing. And I feel like, you know, when I think about like the Earth, just in general, like I feel like we're all so a part of that. Like we're like the cells that make up the conscious body that is Earth. So like we have to adapt, right?
Right.
Or if we don't, we're almost like becoming a cancer, right? And like eating away at it. So we need to do this course correction in our lives and like use, again, like you said, because it is Pluto's so slow, it embeds itself into that energy. So now we've been able to embed and kind of see what was in there, and now it's that wisdom, that knowledge to make the changes necessary, because Pluto always brings some crazy upheaval. So it is like we've all gone through upheaval, but now it's like, okay, we can resurrect and kind of rise up.
Definitely.
You know, that there's the Phoenix, of course, it's associated with Scorpio and Pluto. So at this point, we can, I think, really resurrect ourselves to the course correction, because it's more frequency based coming into all this Aquarius. So you got to trust that. Be able to kind of Just do it. Just let go. Because that's the thing with Aquarius too. Like I feel like we gotta all not be attached. Right. Non-attachment's key. I don't like to use necessarily detach. I feel like that's a little harsh. But maybe we need to be a little bit more harsher. But the non-attachment, just start breaking away here. Which I think humanity is just going to. I don't know that at a certain point we're going to hit a breaking point. I feel like most of us have already, but
no, and
there's a breaking point where we realize we got to spin the other way too.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I feel like because there is so much dark light, that's what Pluto rules, right? I feel like this is a good just like picture an old. Oh, of course.
Oh, just got a screen share. I don't know why that computer always drops.
Yeah, it doesn't like it. Just doesn't like it.
Your internet's fast though.
Well, and that was before I got the network fixed. The network here has been a weird Mercury Mars thing. I take a look at some of these old pics and I think this is such a Pluto moment. Like there's the end of a life that we feel, right? And then there's the will to look up and rise like the phoenix into the ingress of the new. And that's kind of what the idea of the cross is, right? Like the understanding of connecting both sides and understanding in between both sides, but also what both sides are, and it's depicted in a lot of these pictures here, whether it's from the heart space, whether it's, the battle of good and evil, there's the good side, the bad side of things. There's two different doors, two different guardians at the doors. Like Pluto can kind of hold kind of this really intense thing for people that could be very difficult. And I do have like a picture, and this is kind of a weird moment here. I showed this in my first HYPERGATE. It was like, is this a comet or is this an eclipse? This is Death riding on his horse, right? And then here's this heart, right? And again, this kind of like, it's like after a funeral, there's kind of a grieving to the end of a Pluto transit about things, but also kind of like the rebirth moment and the like, oh, also look what's birthed out of this. And it could even be that the person that you were on the prior like transit of Pluto, so like 2007, right, into 2008, it's like you're grieving that because you fully have integrated this new part of you. Now you're going into another area too, but it's kind of weird, these old depictions on the tree of life and knowledge being hung by it. But I always think it's weird how they always like to show when weird things are happening. And in this case, that does look like a comet. Actually, the more that I think about it, and the tail, right? And the fact that it's coming with this big Pluto transit. There's one in here that I'll never forget that I showed during HYPERGATE. And it was like this little death guy with his oh yeah, here he is right here. And this kind of is one of those things that he's got like a little wheel of or sand of time. I don't know why it made me like think about that here. That's very Pluto.
Hey.
It's kind of interesting because a lot of the tarot cards come from a lot of these older, the hand that's coming out.
Mm-hmm. Very like
this is very Pluto. Like, hey, you ready to end whatever you're fucking suffering through and get over it? Like, I feel like people get scared. Like, oh no, I have to go through a death and transformation. I have to go through this gnarly moment. But really, it's not as scary because it is an offering. Oh, there it is. That was what I was trying to look for.
Yeah, that skeleton doesn't even look scary. He's like happy to see you.
No, exactly. If it got stuck on that. Oh, no, it's not. I finally found it, and there it is right here. That to me is Pluto. The sands of time and how long it takes, but the phoenix that rises with it.
This is High Vibe TV, the uncensored, guided, and community-based video TV network with content recorded and live streamed from the world-famous High Vibe TV studios. High Vibe TV delivers daily, weekly, and special programs focused on astrology, spirituality, history, community, and more. This is not your run-of-the-mill astrology and tarot. This is the future of spirituality, illuminating new ways the collective can step into the dawning of this exciting new dimension. The highest vibe is truth, and the truth always prevails. Download our awesome app on the Apple and Android stores so you don't miss our notifications, with special spiritual insights curated to the energy of the universe. Search for us on your TV with our exciting TV apps on Apple TV and Roku. Catch our vibe on your computer, where you can join in on the live chat with our amazing community and blog. Watch spirituality like you've never seen before. Download our apps or go to highvibe.tv. Subscribe now.